Good morning, party people. So I've had a bunch of people asking me about mobility, how I warm up, cool down, keep my body functioning while training. So that is what we're going to talk about today. I'm not going to go into too much detail. I'm just going to go through some upper body and some lower body, how I start getting ready for my sessions. So without further ado, let's jump into it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to use here is this lovely broom handle. You can also use a barbell if you have one, but I'm going to use the broom handle here. This is for shoulders. So, grab a wide handle here. We're just going up, getting our rotator cuff and everything moving smoothly. As I warm up, slide the hands in, take a little bit more. This is a really good stretch for any time you're doing like chest work. I find shoulders can be impacted quite a lot, especially if you're doing bench. So I like to make sure that my shoulder capsule and the side of my pecs is getting stretched out a little bit. Another thing you use this one for is leaning up against the ground, get into it with your shoulder. It's pretty uncomfortable, but it's a really good way of releasing that pec. You can get in nice and deep. If you've got any soreness, tightness through the pec, using the corner of the pole here. My God, that hurts. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do here is again for shoulders. Now, shoulders for me is something that are impacted through a wide range of movements, whether you're doing back where you're pulling, you're doing chest where you're pushing, or you're actually training shoulders where you're raising. This is something I like to warm up all the time, nice and thoroughly. So, I've got little 3 kilo dumbbells here. Just going to go through, again, work the rotator cuff, get the shoulders fully warmed up. You can see here, I'm keeping my elbows pinned, and just using the shoulders to stretch right back through. You don't need to go too heavy, just enough there that you can feel the movement. Then from here, straight up. Again, elbows pinned, keeping the same position the whole way through. All right, so the next thing you need to do is go into the link in my bio, right below, use the Gymshark link, and pick yourself up one of these bad boys. This is the new Crucial range, it's just dropped. Whole heap of new stuff on gymshark.com right now, so use the link below, support me as an athlete, get yourself some sweet treads. Okay, so you've seen me do this one before on my page, but I'm going to explain it in a little bit more detail now. This one here is for the forearms, the elbows. When I was training for Ninja Warrior, I started getting some pretty severe tendonitis through both of my elbows. This is an exercise my physiotherapist gave me in order to help stretching out the tendons and strengthen up the forearms. So what we're doing here is I give a weight here that's heavy enough to stretch the muscle out, but not too heavy that I can't lift it. So place the forearm on the elbow, keep the wrist up, and I'm slowly lowering down. Keep the tension stretching right through the forearm here, all the way to the point. Then I use the other hand to lift it back up. The whole reason I lift it back up is so I'm actually engaging that side of the tendons. Slowly lowering down, stretching out, lifting back up. Seems pretty tedious, and it can be a little bit boring, but this has saved my elbows. Starting each session with this has honestly been a game changer for me. So anytime I'm doing any upper body work now, I like to start with this one. I'd rather be safe than sorry. So I would recommend you guys test it out too. Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about here is warming up properly. These are my like prehab movements, so I do these things to kind of get the muscles and everything functioning. Now before I do any lifting, I like to start with basic bodyweight stuff. That means for chest, I'm going to do push-ups. If I'm doing back, I'm going to do some pull-ups. I always start with bodyweight movements because I feel they're fundamental and like engaging the whole body, and it warms you up properly before you can jump into the movement. Now, when I'm jumping into the movement, we'll start here on bench. I'm always going to start with some warm-up weights. So say I'm doing 4 working sets. That means I'm going to do 4 sets of 10 at 100 kilos. Before I start those 4 sets of 10, I'm going to go through and do a set of 10 at 60, normally a set of 10 at 80. This is lighter weight, warming the muscle up, making sure I'm ready and I'm functioning properly before I jump in and lift that heavier weight. So I'm actually ended up doing 6 sets, but those first 2 sets are more warm-up weights. They're not as heavy, so it means I'm sort of functioning properly by the time I get to those lifts. You with me? Okay, so that's upper body done. Now for lower body. The way I like to start lower body is I kind of do the same thing every session. Mobility is not meant to be fun. It's there to make you function better. So I like to start with seated calf raises and then leg extensions. The reason I do this is 1, to get my calves engaging properly, because obviously if you're standing up doing squats or anything, you want that lower part functioning properly and warmed up. And for the knees, I like to make sure my knees are well lubricated, warmed up, they're functioning and moving in the way they should, so I don't get any injuries when lifting. Alright, so as you can see, I do these nice and slow. Not really trying to lift too heavy. It's 20 kilos. It's more about getting the movement nice and steady. Very easy, very slow, very smooth, just to warm things up. Okay, calf raises are done. Leg extensions now. As I said, lightweight, nothing too intense here. Just moving the muscle, getting it functioning, warmed up, getting blood flowing through the joints. I can't talk. Let's do it.
Alright, here we go.
As you can see here, so we're doing higher rep range. So these are going for kind of like 20 to 30 reps at a very low weight, just getting the blood pumping through the muscles. Okay, same as before with the bench. When I'm squatting, I like to go through and do it nice and easy. So I'm going to start with just the bar here, get the movement in, and then slowly lift the weight up for our functioning sets. Finishing off here. This is at the end of my workouts. I like to go through and roll out. I actually have one of these at home, which I use, but things are not at my house right now. I'll demonstrate with this roller. Just going through and making sure I'm getting the muscles eased out, massage any tightness. It's painful, but it needs to be done. So with the foam roll, you can kind of do this anywhere you need to, using gravity to pull down. So I'm doing my quads there. But here, I can go through and get my back, roll that right out here, stretching out and slowly through any tight spots. If you guys want to see more of this sort of stuff, comment below. Maybe I can kind of get a physio friend of mine in here and we can have a chat about the best ways to release tension using one of these or a trigger ball. That'll do for today, guys. As I said, comment below if you guys have anything else you want to see. Don't forget to subscribe. See you on Friday.